Honourable Speaker, my question this morning is to the Minister for Primary Industries. Tasmanians are confused, and in fact I think perhaps people in this parliament are confused. Can you please specifically outline for Tasmanians the changes that are being made to the salmon industry, because it just doesn't stack up. It's like you've been telling, or maybe the Premier's been telling, the community, industry and the crossbench completely different things. So Tasmanians want to know, what is the industry allowed to do? What isn't it allowed to do?
Anything they want, whenever they want.
Can they expand or not? Has anything actually changed? When will these vaccines take effect, and will the alternate antibiotic actually be here in time? There's a real concern. What actions will your government take, specifically if there are issues again this summer? Will you take the lead and be accountable for the government response? Because last year the government's management of that event was a complete mess.
Yeah.
Honourable Minister for Primary Industries and Water.
Thank you, Speaker, and I thank the honourable member for her question. In relation to the pause on expansion, which is the first part of your question that I will cover, first part in the answer. The government's recent announcement to pause any spatial expansion of the industry while this study takes place demonstrates that we are listening to those in the community who do have concerns.
What does it mean?
What does the pause mean, is the question. Well, we've said that there will be a pause on any spatial expansion of the industry for the duration of the independent study. This is essentially industry and providing that certainty and confidence around the continuing operation of sites in line with established regulations. I'm answering your question.
Order. The Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition can ask a supplementary. I do ask the Minister who is heard, please.
The intent of the pause is that there will be no increase in the total lease area subject to salmon farming operations while the independent study is being undertaken. While the pause is in place, authorisation to farm salmon within dormant leases will not be granted until or unless that a process was already being actively pursued under consideration. Authorisation to deploy pens in the North Storm Bay will not be granted, and consistent with our commitments to the Salmon Industry Plan of 2023, Government will continue the planning process to reclassify unoccupied marine farming zones to remove finfish as a permitted species for culturing within those zones. The existing rights of lessees and the planning intent of proposals have already been granted in that planning approval process will be honoured. Industry operations and production around the already subject to strict regulations. Government will not impose arbitrary limits on operations within existing sites, whether those operations relate to the number of pens, the number of fish that are contained within those pens, or overall production levels. We will not interfere with the decision-making of the independent EPA when it comes to regulating production levels. That is the EPA's responsibility, and we will not interfere with that process. We won't disregard the Chief Veterinary Officer's advice when it comes to the regulation of biosecurity and stocking densities. We will not disregard the advice of regulators and direct farmers to
Honourable
slaughter.
Minister's time's expired.
I'm going to ask for supplementary because the Minister's on a wind-up here, and I'm going to ask him what has changed to allow him to finish, because he didn't finish that answer. But specifically, the management of the event over summer was a complete mess by this government. I'm asking you to put on the record now, will you take the lead and take accountability in the event, in the terrible event that there is another event this summer? Will you take the lead and be accountable for the government's response?
That does relate to the original question.
Thank you, Speaker, and I thank the member for her question. No one in this place, no Tasmanian, including myself, including this side, including the community, including the industry, want to see another mass mortality event. The animal husbandry remains, or the focus on animal husbandry remains pivotal to that industry, and they recognise that. Their recent language around that and the use of more tools in their toolbox, i.e. the emergency use of off-label forfenicol, as a therapeutic measure that they can possibly apply to reduce that or remove that risk from the environment. I welcome that. I welcome any move that will prevent a mass mortality event. That's what government's for. Standing by industry and helping them so that they can farm through
and accountability
subsequent events. Mitigating risk and providing
Honourable Minister's
support.
time has expired. Honourable Order. Honourable Member for Lyons, Ms Badger.
Here.
Has taken on notice. Thank you. Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Speaker. My question again this morning is to the Minister for Primary Industries. Minister, it just doesn't stack up. What specifically are the terms of any and all agreements between you, between the Premier, between the government and Mr George and/or the Greens on the salmon industry? Tasmanians deserve a straight answer. What agreements have been made? What deals have been done? Have you had legal advice? Tasmanians need to know, and I remind you of your commitment to being open and transparent. Now is the time to tell the truth.
Honourable Minister for Primary Industries and Water.
Thank you, Speaker, and can I thank the member for her question. As I've previously stated in this place, and as I've previously stated in many crossbench and opposition briefings, the purpose for this study is to ensure viability and continued professionalism within that industry. We will maintain our push on completing that study and providing advice to government on providing the regulation information that government needs to make our industry the very best industry that it can be. To ensure that when anybody picks a piece of Tasmanian produce up anywhere in the world, that they can be assured that piece of fish is farmed under the very best standards anywhere in the world. That piece of fish is
Order! I cannot hear the Honourable Minister's response. I ask that the members allow the Minister to respond in silence, please.
We've been very clear on the exact terms of the study. I've just detailed to you in some detail the exact timelines and regulations around the industry whilst that study is being conducted and what that spatial pause means. I've been very clear.
Point of order, 45 relevance. I'm not talking about the review, I'm talking about the deals that this Minister, the Premier, the government have made with the crossbench, because it doesn't stack up. What deals, what are the details, the specific details of the deals that you have done?
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Leader. That does go back to the original question.
Thank you, Speaker. I can speak on what we are doing as a government to protect our industry, to support that industry, to ensure that our industry is viable and that they meet standards. I cannot comment. I cannot comment on a conspiracy theory. I really cannot, Speaker, and nor should I be expected to.
Thank you. Any other questions? Honourable Member for Braddon, Mr Garland.